Page 83. Listening for main ideas. A. Close your book. Listen to the lecture and take notes.
Good morning, everybody. So last class, we began talking about negotiation, the negotiation process. And we started to talk about some of the techniques you can use to communicate better in a negotiation. So that's where we'll start today. One of the most difficult issues in negotiation is when one side blames the other for something. And this is very common when one side feels that the other did something wrong or caused the conflict in some way. So what I'm going to talk about today is a technique to help you communicate better during this type of negotiation. Let's start with an example. Let's say that you are having a conflict with a coworker. Now, my coworker, let's call him Joe. Joe and I are working on a project together. But Joe didn't finish his work on time. And because of this, I couldn't finish my work on time either. We need to give the project to our boss, but it's not ready. The boss is angry. I blame Joe for this problem. Now, let's imagine that I go into Joe's office to talk to him, and I say what I'm really thinking. For instance, Joe, you aren't doing your work. The project's going to be late because of you. Okay, so this is one way to explain the issue. But how do you think Joe will react to this? How will he feel? Happy? Ready to communicate with me?
Angry. I'd be angry.
Yes, I think so. And do you think Joe will want to sit down with you and solve your problem?
No.
No, I doubt it. Actually, you've probably made the problem worse. What's happening here is that you are blaming Joe for the problem. He will get angry and won't want to communicate with you. So, as you can see, it is important not to blame the other person for the problem. You may want to say, this is your fault, you caused this problem, and even though this may be true, it will not help you solve the problem. So now, I'll introduce a technique you can use to avoid blaming someone. This technique is called using I statements. What you do is you start sentences with the word I. Say something like, I am upset about this problem. With this I statement, you avoid blaming the other person. You are explaining how you feel, how the problem affects you. So, let's go back to our example of Joe and the project at work. Let's see how we can rewrite the conversation using I statements. So, for instance, instead of saying, Joe, you aren't doing your work, let's make an I statement. Okay, let's change that to, Joe, I'm worried because the work isn't done. Okay. Do you hear the difference? Instead of blaming Joe for his late work, you are explaining how the problem affects you, that you are worried. Let's try another one. The project's going to be late because of you. We can change that to, I'm afraid that the project's going to be late. Again, now you are not blaming Joe. Instead, you are explaining how you feel. When a negotiation doesn't work, the problem is not usually the issues in the negotiation. Most problems can be solved with enough time and communication. No, problems are caused by the way the people on both sides feel about the negotiation. So you need to avoid anything that will make people feel angry or upset. And using I statements is one way to develop that. Okay, that's all our time for today. Next time we'll talk about some more negotiation.
Page 83. Listening for details. A. Close your book. Listen to the lecture again. Add details to your notes and correct any mistakes.